Hey everybody, Breakthrough Health and Life Coach here. I'm here with the 1% podcast, and this is truly a 1%er. And I mean that as a compliment versus a 100%er. So Bobby's a buddy of mine from like, gosh, how far back would you say we go? This are we hitting on like a good
30 years.
30 years?
I'd say,
Yeah.
yeah, when I
Yeah.
started
So yeah,
in
from
94.
wow, yeah. So the Pumpkins the Iron days back at Gold's Gym
Yep.
in Porto Madera, like the I keep when I think of that place, I think of like at one point you got this gorgeous gym, and at one point because that area, that street always would flood at Lucky Drive, and I just remember
Right.
one time I went into the gym to work out, and within 30 minutes everyone's like taking off the place, and I'm already like up to my neck trying to cross the street to get to my car that's just in the last spot that didn't get hit by the flood right there.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
you're like, oh yeah, that's a regular thing.
It happened a lot. Yep.
Yeah, and I remember you from just kind of giving a little of a context. I remember you and your brother Chet. I think Chet back in the days had a tanning. Was it a tanning salon in like Santa Fe or
Yeah,
something? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I used to have my office. I don't know if you knew this. We maybe weren't talking for a period of time, but I had my office in the 4th Street Nautilus. So I used to. That's where
Oh, yeah, yeah.
my
I
shop was
remember
there
that.
for a bit. Yeah. So right, kind of like around the corner from where you guys were situated by the bank and.
Exactly. Exactly. Good
Uh,
memory.
well, let me just explain to the guest, the audience here. I have an extraordinary guest, not just because I enjoy spending time with good friends and people that are just doing extraordinary things in the world, but as far as what I think you might be able to do for a lot of the folks that are listening on one of the issues that I'm going to be turning 50 here in June, and as I near that age, there have been a lot of surprises I didn't anticipate, and as an athlete, the subject we're going to kind of dive a little bit into today is around mobility. But I faced some issues in this holiday. I haven't told a lot of people. I've told some, but I found out that I had a tumor in my head just
Jeez.
by being proactive and getting my blood work checked. I had a buddy of mine who's like, "Hey, let's get your blood work done." I'm like, "Nah, I haven't had insurance. Haven't seen a doctor since my 20s." And I grew up, my mother's a pharmacist, so if I coughed or sneezed, it was like 20 of these pills, and I was sick all the time on antibiotics. And so I was very like weary of doctors. And I've always been like, just be proactive, eat right, manage your stress, get your mind right, eliminate toxic people, toxic things that just are foreign to the body, and just do your best versus passing yourself to an authority. But I've come to realize as I've gotten older, it's really important to work with other authorities who are experts that allow you to keep your own authority.
Hmm.
And I think that's a lot of the conversation today. You're going to learn from Bobby and what he does in the world, which is very unique and has developed a really incredible niche. He's not just helping folks on a local level, but he's designed his own incredible equipment and services to help people all over. And I'm at that age where, hey, going to spend more time on the golf course, going to spend more time, you know, you want to enjoy time with your kids. As your kids are getting older, it's like how can you engage with them, not just in conversation, but the physical activities, like being able to get out there and still stay bulletproof and enjoy life, things that we took for granted in our 20s and 30s when we did knucklehead stuff. Being able to continue to, I've got friends that in their 60s and 70s, they got bodies of 20-year-olds. They're still jumping over walls and doing all kinds of crazy stuff because they really didn't buy in on the Wilford Brimley, I'm going to get old and break down at 50. And instead,
Uh-huh.
it's like, no,
Yeah.
these are my best years. So let's talk a little bit maybe about what you're up to in the world and how this, maybe that's the context for today, is like how you have your best years ahead of you. And what do
Well,
you need to do about that?
well, that's where, I started way back. I got a degree in kinesiology from the University of San Francisco.
Yep.
Then I started picking up certifications. And when I got my first certification, I was like, okay, I got this. This is, CSCS. I know everything. I'm a certified strength conditioning specialist. So the first year I knew everything. This is what we did. But after doing it for 30 years and getting 13 different certifications, National Academy of Sports Medicine, EGOSCU, all the different things that are
Yeah,
out there,
Goski, yeah, you got them all.
it it really got me to start thinking about the body as a unit. So not strengthening or lengthening as one part of the body. We strengthen the whole unit. And being an athlete myself, I played basketball and baseball at University of San Francisco. I would get injured all the time. I broke my back in a car accident in college. That's what took me out for that year. So I've dealt with all the injuries, shoulder injuries, knee injuries, back injuries. I've had all those different injuries.
At a
I
really
do a
young
lot of
age. Yeah.
physical
Yeah.
therapy. I also recently, last year, had both my hips done. So I
I
had my
know that.
right
Wow.
hip. I had my right hip done. I had my left hip done. And it was because you remember how we used to train. We used to box jump, Olympic lift, deadlift. Everything was heavy. If it hurt, we said, hey, don't be a pussy. Just keep going. Right.
Right.
It was just like, do it, do it. We didn't know about foam rolling. We didn't know about all that other stuff that started to come, you
Yeah.
know,
Come out of
and
the physical
we,
therapy world, started to like make its way into the mainstream gym as part of your workout. So
exactly. And so I was kind of a lab rat and I did everything. I was a freak at everything because I was trying to do everything. Right. So I like back squatted with Yasha 225 63 times.
oh shit.
And they were like, holy shit, how do you do that? Because I could only like back squat 350. But my endurance was so good. I could just, if I could do it once, I could do it twice. If I could do it twice, I could do it 4 times. So all the jump roping, I jumped rope for a football game up in Tahoe for 3.5 hours. So all this stuff I went through as a lab rat. So having my hips done, it was bone on bone. And people are getting older and they want to know how to fix this stuff earlier so you don't have to do what I did and go through these treatments. So I came up with some equipment that makes it easier for you to do this at home. Mobility, because mobility is the key to improving performance and reducing pain. And that's literally the key. And during COVID, I got super busy because everybody was like, couldn't go to the gym. What do I do? And I'm like, oh, dude, use your mat, use your blocks, use your bands, and your medicine ball. You're good to go. You have your home gym basically set up. So as you get older, you should feel better because you're more knowledgeable about what you're eating, you're sleeping, your workouts on mobility every day. Do 1, 2, or 3 different things. It's very simple if you understand why you do some of the movements that we teach that are very simple. They are very simple. So that's kind of how I got started, how I started learning, how I, got a little bit more humble with knowing a little bit more and kind of diving into getting healthy as I could.
Yeah, you
So
and I have a very similar philosophy. You take a lot of complexity and then you try to figure out how to synthesize that information down for the
right.
individual, understand why they're doing something, but just get after it because it's so simple. But there's so much that goes into the science and the art form of what you create. And this dude, by the way, like super jacked. I'm not saying you don't look amazing still today, but he was super jacked back in the days. And it inspired me. A lot of people know me as like this jump rope person because I used to work with one of my clients was the godfather of the sport of jump rope around the world, but I didn't know how to jump rope. I was intimidated by it, and I saw you doing all these like flashy tricks. And I, when I came out here to Colorado, I was teaching a jump rope class, and these girls started doing all these flips and handstands and spins. I'm like, who taught you this? I'm like, you got to go see this guy, Mr. C, Rich Sandala here. He teaches over at Douglas Elementary School, and I called the guy in the middle of class, canceled the class, went over, became best friends with him, ended up helping him come back from open heart surgery. But he had me with all these little munchkins with giant heads watching me while I was learning. The big Mama Luke, who had no coordination. I learned how to jump rope and, I got to where I could do 5 minutes of doubles in a row without a miss. And, a pretty big accomplishment compared to like most boxers can do maybe, 50 or 100 doubles. And,
Yeah.
but you were the guy that that really inspired me on like the discipline, the building up the athleticism, the endurance, you had a very rounded approach to things of strength and power, and still, we still lifted some knucklehead weight back in the days, but like it was really about like, how's this helping me outside of the gym, which a lot of people don't think about. They train in one plane of motion. And so maybe talk a little bit about that. Like, if you're just doing lunges this way and you're just doing squats and curls and presses and everything's in this one plane of motion, you're not working the transverse plane and so forth. But maybe that's something to speak
well,
to.
this is literally the key to improving in the gym. Most people go in and start a fitness routine, whatever that is, but they're strengthening their dysfunctions. They don't even know about the compensations that they have. And your best athletes are your best compensators. So just because they can get it done doesn't mean it's proper. This goes on in pro sports all the time. I've been trying to talk to the Oakland A's, the Giants, about all these injuries going on in baseball. They have back injuries, they have groin strains, they have all these different injuries. The reason is they're not symmetrical enough. Now, we're never going to be perfectly symmetrical, but we're going to be better. If your left hamstring is shorter, your right hamstring's longer, your left hip's weaker, your right hip's stronger. These are all going to fight each other. And that is what goes on with compensation that leads to dysfunction that causes pain. So the simple exercises I have that I teach, the 6 to 12, the basics, everyone should be doing that. They say you can't do one thing for everyone. Well, the things I'm teaching, it's literally minimum the 12 everyone should be doing, right? Because you got the mat, the blocks, the bands. Now understand this, soft tissue work with mobility, with the strength, now equals a win. If you strengthen and soft tissue and try to lengthen, that's the wrong way to do it. You have to do it in the order I said, and that guarantees the results. That's why I get such great results. Fortunately, it's because I've been trying it for 30 years. I kind of found out, wow, this really works well for planes of motion. Remember what you just said? How many people have ever done a wall window where they stand up against the wall, bring your arms up to shoulder height, open your fingers wide, put them all on the wall. So my shoulder blades, head, back, calves, feet are touching the wall, then move side to side and glide. And how does that make your back feel? Like, whoa, I can't go left as much as I can go right. There's a reason, because you're rotated, okay? But then I have you go wider with your feet. That's why my mat helps with that. It's 1 box, 2 boxes, 3 boxes, 4 boxes, but you have a measurement to that. So you know exactly where you are, right? Same thing with like a runner stretch where your feet are in line. And why my feet are in line, it's like wringing out a towel. There's a reason for each exercise. And a lot of this came from Egoscue. Pete Egoscue was a great guy. He came up with this theory 30, 40 years ago. I've just simplified it by putting tools with what they're teaching to really, boom, get the exercises exact. Because if I teach you, Glenn, one time, you can do it on your own by yourself and do it perfectly. And that's the hardest thing. So physical therapy, people go to physical therapy, they go home, they never repeat the exercises like they were taught in the office. So their results aren't as good as they would get with the trainer standing there. Fortunately, with my tools, you're now a professional because you're doing it 1 box, 2 box, 3 box. And the funny story I have on this, I had 39 physical therapists in a room. And I said, you guys know staggered stance mini band walk, and they all know it. I said, give me 3 therapists. They come on out. I give 1 a light band, 1 a medium band, 1 a heavy band. They start doing it. Then I said to all the other therapists, what would you change about their movement? And the therapists were telling the other therapists, put your feet wider, put your feet here, put your feet there. And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. So you guys are professionals. You're a therapist. How are your patients going to go home and do this on their own if therapists are telling therapists? So I said, okay, wait 1 second. I flipped my mat over. I said, you do 1 box, you do 2 boxes, and you do 3 boxes. And the girl I told to do 3 boxes, it was a heavy band. So I knew her knees were going to go valgus. I knew she was going to dive. And she starts moving. And I said to everyone else, now what would you change about their movement? And they're all, hey, she's got to move in 1 box. And I'm all, ding, ding, ding. You're already speaking the language. So it's like a language that we have that you can see. I'm going to start on the light band at 1 box. Next week, I'm going to go to 2 boxes. 3rd week, I'm going to go to 3 boxes. And in the 4th week, I'm going to go up a band and start over at 1. But you can do that on your own without me telling you. You can see the results. So these exercises really work because they're so simple. By laying on my blocks, do you want me to show you? Does it make more sense if I show you?
Let's do it. And then I'd love to hear maybe, living example of how you preach this and your own kids, what they're up to and what you're seeing in their performance, and going back to like the overdeveloped, athlete that plays 1 sport versus your son who plays baseball and football, has that nice mix, your daughter who plays golf, and what goes into that and what you're seeing in their performance comparatively to other athletes, because you work with elite level athletes. So maybe sharing that as well too, as we
I'll show you this one exercise and then I'll jump into that. So this one I literally do every night before bed. Okay, these blocks are 6 by 10 by 12. Okay, so if you're new to this, you'll start really low. I'm going to go up on the high one because I do it all the time. And then I just lay down and I put my arms up on here like this. So you see my feet are internally right?
Yep.
That
And your
internal
head's
rotation,
dropped. Yep.
head's dropped, arms are up, and I'm just relaxing. So what is this doing? I lay here for 4 to 6 minutes. It's
Okay.
taking it's taking the rotation out of my upper body. So if I'm a little rotated or a little forward, you know what
Being
I'm
on the
saying?
computer all
It's
day.
gonna it's gonna exactly all the people on computers and phones with their neck on their phones like this,
Yep.
it's gonna open that all up. So by laying on those blocks, it really simplifies the
And you're
movement because
leveraging and you're leveraging the gravity so much better than like what someone would say to just go lie back on the Swiss ball, and just do this.
that's more active,
Active.
that's more passive. You
Right.
have to mix active with passive.
Right.
That's exactly part of what I teach is you can't always be active, 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 active. You have to have some passive. And people say, well, I could do that in a door. You can't stand there and relax in the door because that's not gravity. That's
Yeah.
you
Pushing
working
into
it.
it. Yeah.
And when you're on the ground, you're just relaxed. So that little muscle that's not releasing all of a sudden releases, right? My chest, my shoulders, if you bench press, if you're doing a lot of upper body stuff, it just opens you up. So to backpedal to my kids, I started them in like Taekwondo. I had them doing gymnastics and I had them doing ballet. So those were the things of staples of movement back in the day I was learning that made athletes because I heard different athletes doing parts of one. So I put them in all three. Then I added the mobility of my exercises. So my son right now, he's deadlifting 505. He's a sophomore in high school. He is doing on back squat 440, and he's not lifting that much. He's doing a little bit each week because he's so busy with baseball right now and homework. He has 5 hours of homework every night. So he's like up till 12. So my wife's yelling at me, he can't work out. He can't work out. But what I'm saying is the reason he's doing what he's doing is because he's mobile. He's not structured in a way where he's fighting himself. He's just fighting whatever weight he's trying to do.
So if he was
So,
doing without the mobility exercise, he would be breaking his body down like crazy being at the
oh,
school.
big time. And that's what goes on. I'm telling you, in pro sports at the highest level right now, I'll give you a story. Will Zalatoris, he's a golfer. Okay. So you guys would have to look this up. Will Zalatoris, he just had back surgery, I heard. He basically had two bulging discs. Now, last year, I saw a chiropractor for the PGA come out to try to help him. He was torquing him and twisting him and torquing him and twisting him on the course, trying to get him better so he could play. And he lifted him and twisted him. And Zach goes, oh, ah. And I'm like, what the hell is that guy doing? You never rotate when you have a back problem. Never. Okay. Why? If the chiropractor gets lucky and cracks you, right? Gets lucky, and it happens to go in, happens, okay? You have to do it naturally. Understand this. Muscles pull on the bones. Why are we going to adjust the muscles first? I mean, the bones first, rather than the muscles, because the muscles pull the bones. This is why people that only see a chiropractor and they never do soft tissue work. Most of the chiropractors now are doing soft tissue work.
Yep. Or they got them on a machine to loosen everything up.
Back in our day, people would go 3 times a week to the chiropractor because they'd go out because the muscles are pulling the bones. Yeah. So what I was saying is at the highest level, they don't know what I'm teaching right now. And so for me, I'm writing 3 books right now, one for physical therapists, one for golf, and one for corporate wellness, trying to explain how simple this is. Because in a book, I can put these exercises, I can explain why you need to do these basics and literally hand you the book and you don't need me. Go in there and just do these couple things. And like I said, you're able to be a pro because of the tools. I started, and I tell this story. I don't know why I started the company I did start, because it was so difficult trying to get this stuff made in China, trying to figure out who to get it. It was a freaking nightmare. And I'm lucky I am where I am today, because it took, I'm 10 years into this now, 12 years of designing, doing all this and trying to help my clients. I never started to try to make more money. I was drawing lines on straps saying, grab it here, grab it here, grab it here, grab it there. Now I just have numbers. So grab it at 1, grab it at 25. It's super simple. So Yeah.
So when someone orders one of these kits, they get like a whole, so they got the blocks. These are different than yoga blocks. And
Mm-hmm.
can you
Mm-hmm.
explain a little bit about, okay, you already revealed it's made in China. So, but aside from that, but like what goes into like, so they're gonna get this little kind of care package that's like, I can take this and do this right there in my living room if I wanted to, and still not
Yeah,
make pain. So
if you guys are listening and you go to bam-metrics.com,
okay.
you can just kind of search around there, go to the shop. But the thing you really should order is the mat, the blocks, and the bands. That's the thing I push to everyone. Once you start that and do that for a couple months, 3 months, then I can say, okay, maybe you like my vest. I have a vest, I don't know if you know this, Glenn, that you lay back on your back and you can stretch your lower body with your foot in this like it's connected to you, so it's hands-free, right? So you
Okay.
move your leg, hamstring, but it tells you your number.
Okay.
How high can you bring your leg up? 15, 14, 13. Where's your leg? So if you do some soft tissue work and then you go back into it, you can go from 14 to 13. And then you do some more soft tissue work and you go, oh, 13 to 12. But you have a metric to your movement.
Yeah.
And it's like I always say, if you're not measuring it, how are you going to know you're doing better?
We agree.
Right.
I'm with you on the same page. Like, why do it? If you can't measure it, then you probably shouldn't be doing it because you can't tell if you're progressing or you're causing damage. So
And all my exercise have a metric to it, and it's your metric. So there's no, is 33 good? No, it's your number. It has nothing to do with how good you are. For example, can you put your feet at 1 box? Can you put your feet at 5 boxes? Eventually you will get out to 4 or 5 boxes. But many men, when they first start, can only do like 3. And a lot of times they can't even get their fingers on the wall. They're so crunched up and they can't even put those things. They're like this. It's unbelievable. But then they say, I play golf 3 times a week. They can't open their hands. So how are you going to be using your wrist and explosion through that?
well, let's talk about that. What's the consequence of we were talking about this earlier? Like, what are the consequences when you have a dysfunctional system and you load or you put explosive torque or you rotate, you do all these things when we were just talking about
Compensation, compensation,
okay. And
compensation.
where does the compensation go to? Where does it go? And when we compensate, where does the damage then go?
It goes usually to the opposite side. So if your right shoulder hurts, your right shoulder is not the problem. It could be your left hip. It could be your left knee. It could be your left foot. It's like a puppet. You know, you're
Yeah.
pulling on the strings. If
Yeah.
I put strings from my shoulders to my hips to my knees to my ankles and I pull down on the right side, what's that left side going to do? It's going to go up. If I
Right.
pull forward on the right side this way, it's going to move the other one forward. So it's going to go opposite ways. So that's why we're trying to get things equal by doing, like I said, windmills, runner stretch, spread feet wide and rotate. For example, I mean, going like this, very simple exercise, but hard for many because they never do this. If I put my feet at 50 inches, okay, and I put the blocks right here, and I'm going to make this easy right now because I'm going to say the person's never done this. So
Okay.
I'm at 50. I put the blocks at 25. I put my hand on here, and then I'm going to work on rotation. First of all, they're probably going to feel a really big pull in their inner thighs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also their T-spine, they don't even know how to rotate their T-spine. So they can't even
Right.
do this.
They're there.
Now, as you get better, we'll go lower. As we get better, we'll go lower till eventually they're down and they can do it this way.
All
Right.
right, folks, try this at home, folks. You'll know if you need this. Now,
And
now, even someone like yourself who's put all this work and time and energy into it, and even if you don't come into, a combusting, crushing trauma on a rugby field, but you're just daily life, these strings are constantly getting pulled forward and back and up and down. So this has to be something that you're very proactive with on a regular basis because it's just not going to stay the same. Things are going to continue to need to be manipulated. And would you say, like, how would you put that when you think about your life?
Well, I'll simplify it for you guys. It's like brushing your teeth. Do you brush your teeth once a week, once every 2 weeks, or do you brush every day? Now, do you brush?
You should ask people if they floss.
Yeah. Do you? And flossing is better. So I could use that one even better. But I always say you brush your teeth so people get that right away. And it's like, do you brush twice a day? morning and night. Your body's the same way. So when I talk about this, I talk about lifestyle, not workout, lifestyle. Okay. If you really want to make a change, if you tell me you're on a diet, that just tells me you're just going to keep getting fat, keep going up and down, keep yo-yoing. If you say, I'm changing my lifestyle, whoa, okay, now we're going to make a change. Now that's going to actually happen. So lifestyle, fit it in the morning, do a windmill before you even take a shower, then take a shower. And while I'm in the shower, I'll do the runner stretch because I have a little seat right there. I'll put my hands on it and I'll do the runner stretch.
Great.
Then I'll reach up over my head in the shower because I literally get out of bed like an old man and walk across the floor like I freaking 90 years old. And then as I take the shower, do the windmills, start moving, I feel better. Then I go off to the day. Then I'm at my desk and I'm working and I make a phone call. Then I go, hey, I'm going to stand up and do a counter stretch, put my hands on the desk, push my butt back and just open up my spine. I'm mixing these in throughout the day. Go to lunch. Before I go to lunch, lay on the blocks for 3 minutes. I go to lunch. I come back from lunch. I'm going to do a wall squat, sit against the wall. So I'm just throwing 30 seconds a minute, 30 seconds a minute. We're going to walk upstairs. Before I walk the stairs, I drop my heels and I do a gravity drop, basically a stair drop.
So,
okay?
quick interrupt on this. So the quick fix, one and done approach in your experience, as well as mine, doesn't work. We have to take this kind of an approach of self-mastery and daily practice. It's really just a daily practice. And check in, you know, it's like you hear a yoga class, like when you go to a yoga class, like just see what wants to happen today. Today might be the day you open up big, or it might be the day you're like, I need to lie on the mat a little longer here. It's too hot in this room.
Yeah.
You have to listen to what your body is wanting. So some days you're like, I don't really need to stretch this part here, but this sure does need some attention right now, or this movement, I got to spend some more time on that. So it's being in tune with what wants to happen, but playing the long game. Like if you want to live long and high quality life, you got to play a long game, and you'll still win the short games along the way.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know what they don't know, so they don't understand. Everything I just said was like a full day, right? I might just have you start with in the morning, do the runner stretch in your shower. The next day, I want you to do the windmill before you go in the shower. The next day, I want you to lay on the blocks before you go to bed. So I start you with one a day to get the habit of one a day. Then you go like, come on, Bob, give me more. Okay. I don't want to throw 13 at you right away where it's like overwhelming. It's new. It doesn't fit your lifestyle. So I'd rather you start with one and then add 2 next week. And then in the 3rd week, add 3. And then the 4th week, 4. But we're building on it. And I promise you, you guys would feel amazing. I feel better now than I did by far when I was 20 in the way of how I move. As a 53-year-old guy, I can do anything I want. I can move, and I have 2 hips done. I mean, I literally can do anything I want. Squatting, lunging, balancing, hip hinging, doesn't matter what it is, but I've had both hips done. So to be as strong and feel as good as I am for my lifestyle, I like golf. I play golf. So my whole goal is to just keep getting lower in my handicap as I play more golf in the future. But what's your goal? What do you want to accomplish? It might just be, I want to go for a walk in the afternoon, not hurt. You know, maybe they want to walk an extra mile because they can only do half a mile. Those sort of things is what this will help you with. Mobility is the key to improving performance, whatever your performance is, and reducing your pain. And it has to be done the way I said. Soft tissue, mobilize, then strengthen. You cannot go to the gym and strengthen, get fit. I'm losing weight, and I'll say my right knee hurts. Right. Your right knee hurts because of the compensations, which we talked about.
Yeah, things are going to break down. Yeah, it's shout out to my client Sherry, who's like, oh, Greg, I can't wait to hear this golf guy talk because I want to improve my golf game. I'm like, you're gonna improve your golf game, but not at a cost. Not at a cost.
Well, this is the thing, is you don't have to compensate. Many guys' golf swings are compensations because they can't do, for example, my hip. When I used to swing, I'm a lefty. Yeah. When I used to swing with my bad hip, I could not finish in with my hip. It would literally hurt. Yeah. So I would come in, I would slide, and then I would throw my hands and hit the ball. I would
Right.
get the job done because I'm a
Right.
pretty good athlete. But
Yeah.
like I said in the beginning, my best athletes are my best compensators. The less I compensate, the easier it is. I literally went out and played. My first time I shot 86. My second, I shot 69. How's that possible? I was actually swinging more consistently without compensation, and I was not trying to hit it too hard. And I was just throwing it in play, throwing it in play, throw all day long, no compensation. So I said, when I walked off the course, I'm like, God, that was freaking easy today. Holy shit, that was fun. So take the compensations away and you will do better. And yeah, that's what I teach my PGA guys all the time. I've got this kid who's 6'7" right now, 23 years old, super mobile. We're strengthening him. We're working on his stuff, but hits the ball 350. He just crushes the ball. 6'7", and beautiful swing, beautiful swing. He's an awesome kid from San Francisco.
Yeah, I remember you used to hit the ball pretty far. You're a beast. Had some records, I think, back in the days at some of the golf courses, if I recollect.
Yeah, my thing was I had a hole-in-one left-handed, and one right-handed and two left-handed. That's my claim to fame because I used to play with my dad's clubs right-handed, and one day I got stuck behind a tree, flipped it over, hit it out 200 yards upside down, and Dad says, "What the hell are you doing playing right-handed?" I said, "Dad, I'm using your clubs," but I was a left-handed baseball player. That's why I could swing left-handed. So the next, I got a 3-wood and a 7-iron, hit it down the middle, hit it on the green. Next day, went to Oshman's, bought a new set for $150 and started playing left-handed. So,
Oshman's, I gotta remember that place.
Oshman's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I got my first like sandpaper sawdust weeder supplement or something back in the days. Well, now you must have this like fire in you. You must have been like born from like an icon or something. What was your dad about? Like, how did this get instilled in you from?
No, this is the consistency and all that became of I never thought I was good enough. So I always had to work harder. I was very anxious as a kid, 16-year-old, struggled, high school, was always nervous, not good enough, not got to do more, got to do more. I'd go out and shoot basketballs all day.
Self-critic was really loud. So.
Oh, really loud back then. And I completely understand that with people. And I tell them all the time, you got to trust who you are and what you are and how you're doing it. And a big part of that is fitness. It really, over the time, gave me that confidence because the one thing is when you're not good enough, you're always doing more, doing more, doing more. So I was doing everything in the gym and I became a freak in the gym at what I was doing. And in that way, it helped me, but it put a lot of pressure on me along the way to never be good enough. Even when I was ripped, it was like, I can be ripped,er. It's like
you didn't have a healthy relationship to it to enjoy it or be like to celebrate and grow it from that. So how's your approach changed now, your philosophy, and what's your relationship now with exercise? Like
it's really, like I said, lifestyle fits in between my clients. I don't even have a time that I work out in the day. I might not work out today, but I'll lay in front of the TV and I'll do some of the movements I was talking about.
Okay.
So I don't care that I'm ripped. I don't care. I'm more about the family. So kids, having the 50 or 16, 17-year-old and the wife, it's not about me anymore. This is a funny story too.
Yeah.
I used to be afraid of the dark all the time. Afraid of the dark. Going outside to get the garbage cans, going around the corner, afraid of the dark. When I had my kids, it like left me. It's weird. I have no fear of the dark anymore. And it's a freaking strange thing because it's not about me anymore. Yeah. It's about them. So I don't know how to explain that, except it changed me in a way that it gave me a self-confidence of things that I could be walking in Oakland going around the corner and I don't have that fear anymore. It's weird. And so I guess having kids and having
Oakland's not the hood anymore. It's expensive real estate
now. Yeah, taking it away from you and doing it for others, it makes it a lot easier. So maybe some of you out there need to do this for your wife or do it for your kids so they feel better about you, that you're going to live longer, and hey, dad's healthier, and hey, dad can play with me more often, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think as we mature and we have to face our dark sides, there's this I went through some really challenging times in my life, and the lessons I got were just so potent, so powerful. And I had to work so hard to earn those new possibilities in my life that it was so much bigger than me. And so I just felt that calling inside myself that I'm here to share those things that maybe I was ashamed of, so that it would be, like I'm just a vessel for helping others, have a better chance at something, not to go through what I went through, so to speak. And I think,
Yeah, I struggled hard in high school. I would go a month, 2 weeks at a time and be out of school because I couldn't handle the anxiety, the I'm not good enough. Thought about killing myself a few times. So I know the depth of that feeling. And now I can't even imagine thinking like that. It's just kind of the maturity level over time. You kind of you mature,
Yeah. And
so.
you bring that compassion and that understanding. It probably makes you a really great teacher. It probably became a superpower, like myself. It becomes a superpower in wanting to give and serve others and help them accomplish and get past their, as we both know, it's like, it's not physical, it's 100% mental. You gotta
100%, 100%.
100%. And that's like, it's always a fun conversation I have with clients in the beginning. I'm sure yourself too. It's like, hey, what part of this do you think is physical? What part's mental? And they're like, it's like 80 physical, 20% mental. I'm like, it's 100% mental, but we're going to get you to own that truth here. So,
Yeah.
and that's, I think that's the part where, us as coaches, like we see the potential in others. We see that, like when someone comes into our space that's really willing and wanting to be there, what feeds my soul is like, oh man, I see the glass half full. I see the potential, where I might have been the harsh critic with myself. I'm super generous in like seeing that possibility. And like when I always approach clients with a philosophy of, I'm here to love up on that person on the part that they're really hard and critical, hyper vigilant, with themselves. And then I'm there also simultaneously, I have another responsibility, which is to help them birth that big vision of possibility that they think is fucking crazy, that seems impossible. I'm like, we're going to do the seemingly impossible until it's possible. And that's where you're going to be lit up for life. And that's where passion is. And like, I sometimes I reference this one gentleman who talked about, you're depressed and you're on antidepressants. He's like, go get a six-pack at the gym, go get in shape, and then see if you're still depressed. Like
Uh-huh.
go optimize yourself and get in that mindset of optimizing yourself, and see if some of that stuff, just like fear of the darkness, like get a kid and you'll wash away some things.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. I have a funny story of a dad that came to me with his kid, eighth grade, and
Yeah.
he said, "Do you think my son could play, D3 baseball?" And I said, well, "I don't know. He's got 5 years till he's going to college." So we started working, and he stayed with me for those 5 years. And when he left, he went off to college. Then he got drafted and went in, and it was one of the fastest in Major League Baseball at the time. And when he started, you would have never known where this kid could go. So I tell people all the time, you don't know where you can go, and don't set your limits. I always explain this. If your dad got up every morning, jumped off the roof, and went to work, you would think that's normal. But what if we saw somebody jump off the roof and then like walk off? We're like, what the fuck? What the hell's that guy doing? You know what I mean? It'd be like, whoa. But that's because we set limits, and you don't know what your limits are. And so when I start training people, I can't tell them I'm going to take them here, because a lot of them are thinking you're nuts. I had this talk with my one
Yeah.
lady client who's 67 right now. She weighs 114 pounds. Okay. When we started, she's actually up to like 119 now. Super thin and weak. 5 pound weight she thought was heavy.
Right.
Okay. Yesterday, I had her jumping rope for a minute, then carrying 40-pound dumbbells in each hand for a minute, and then jump rope for a minute, carry for a minute, jump rope for a minute, 4 sets of that. She would have thought I was crazy if I said you're going to do that someday.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't really tell them I'm going to take you here unless they're a special personality of they have that drive, because it becomes a thing of overwhelming. And you can't think overwhelming. It's day to day, 5 years from now. It's like money in the bank. If you
Yeah.
got $5 every day, if I gave you $5, you'd be like, big deal. I've, 25 at the end of the week, $30 at the end of the week. Who cares? But what's it like after 10 years? Right? That's a lot of money I'm handing you, thousands of dollars right there. That's what fitness is. That's what lifestyle is. That's what will make the change in time. But you have to jump the small hurdles every day. And do you want to jump one hurdle, or do you want to jump 10? You're just going to get there faster if you're doing 10, but don't do 10 today and 0, 0, 0, 10, 0, 0. I'd rather you do 3, 3, 3.
Yep.
There's your 10 right there at the end of the week.
And that's that intelligence that comes from the coach who knows how to reverse engineer extraordinary results and walk that back into, all right, you're a baseball player. So it's like grand slams, or what if we just hit base hits every day, as you've heard this one before, hit a base hit every day. Before you know it, the bases are loaded. And then every day you just keep hitting a base hit. You got another home run, another home run, another home run, and getting people to set goals, inspiring, challenging goals. But you got to like float those and focus on the day-to-day practice, like what you're doing in the shower, what you're doing, and you're in the living room, got an option at the couch in front of the TV or something else.
Right. And I literally watch TV on the floor because I'm doing stuff on the floor, whether it's a foam rolling, a band exercise, using the blocks for something. It just depends, but I always do. And this is the other thing. If I did this routine today on the floor, tomorrow I'm gonna do a different routine. It will not be the same. So that's how I'll change it up. If I did a few, then I might do those same few with the other few tomorrow. But if it's too much, I'm going to change it. Because I always tell you, if you look at a tool, and my wife used to hate this when we've been married 20 years now. But when I first married her, she would get pissed because I'd leave a tool on the floor, leave it here, leave it there around the house by the TVs, right? And she goes, no, she wants it cleaned in the cupboards. I'm like, if it's in the cupboard, I don't think about it.
Right.
If I see it, oh, there's the foam roller. I go grab it. Yeah. I lay down and I do it. I grab the blocks next time because they're there. So I explained to her, hon, it really, really helps me. Even though I'm in fitness, I don't think about it when I get out of here.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. So it's like if there's not junk food in the fridge, then it's not, you're not gonna have to worry about it. But I'm so similar to you in that if it's out, I'm like, oh, I can get after that toy. That tool's out. Just like I got my rumble roller right here. So
yeah. So you just make it easier on yourself by having these things visible so you can start to get your lifestyle to fit what you're trying to do.
That makes sense. Well, I just want to say, hey, really, really appreciate to have you as a guest on the show. We'll have you back again for sure. And I guess if folks want to get a hold of you again, maybe just mention one more time where they can find you, and also the best package to get if they really want to improve their golf game or whatever. It's summertime right now. We all want to be more mobile, not get injured. I'm a big rock climber these days. I'm not built like a rock climber. 220 pounds of muscle. I wrote a book. I went and climbed Devil's Tower here, and in order to do the activities I like to do, and do my crazy things and inspire others to do crazy things, we have to do these proactive, preventative things, but not where they've been tabled to, the therapist's office, So, okay, now my neck's kink, now I got to get to the chiropractor. And there's a place for these things, but in our day and age, we have to be able to do some of these things at home and be ahead of the curve.
And I've really simplified it for you guys in a way that I have videos right there on the site that you're going to watch the videos and follow with the equipment. Watch the videos. It's right there. I've super simplified this for you guys. So it's the cheapest $200 you'll ever spend, because you've now got for a lifetime of exercises. And if you go to bam-metrics.com, that's where you can find it. Go to the shop section and then get the mat, the blocks, and the bands. That trifecta right there. It's like $200. And I'll even give you guys a promo code for free shipping today. BAM, BAM, free ship. So that'll cover your shipping, okay? Right. Anywhere in the US. But I promise you also, so you have the videos, you have the blocks, bands, and mat. You can do this at home and then go to the gym. So do one exercise and go to your gym. Come back, lay on the blocks before you go to bed. But follow the simplicity of this and you're going to start feeling better. It's story after story after story that I have. I have the San Francisco Giants doctor. His wife had back pain for 9 months. She saw me on Wednesday. She came back the following Wednesday. On the third Wednesday, she went out and played golf, shot her lowest round ever. The next day, she beat that. She shot lower than that the next day. Pain-free, in 3 weeks and shooting her lowest round of golf. Not magic. It's the same stuff you guys are going to be doing, but it's going to simplify it for you because you have the tools. So, I mean, you can go to my site right now and tap on there and start trying to do some of these exercises, but the mat will help with measuring you. Can you do 1 box? Can you do 2 boxes? Can you do 3 boxes? And then if you guys have more questions or more stuff you want to talk about, email me, Bobby, BOBBY at bammotion.com, BAMMOTION.com, and ask me a question. I'll answer you guys. I'm always about helping. All I ask you is if you get a good result, you enjoy it, please share it with someone else so they can feel good, because everything I do is word of mouth. I'm not huge on the marketing. That's why I do these podcasts, to try to share with a few more. Glenn, I'll hook you up with the affiliate link, and you need to go to get the affiliate link. So
yeah, we'll get that. We'll definitely get that dialed in, but definitely, hey, everybody, you got direct access right here. You got no excuses. So if you're on the fence and you're even just pondering playing some golf this year, and you're missing it, and you want to go about it right and build a solid foundation, have a great experience, and be able to do all the other activities you want to do this spring and summer, this guy is your man. Bobby's the man. So just check it out. And I just want to say, just shout out to everybody who is wanting to experience more freedom in their life, more play. I mean, I could tell you're going to be, your goal in life is like, hey, I want my family like playing together, doing sports and activities. When we get together with the grandkids, like we're all doing activities and adventures together and living life to the fullest. And so that's my wish for everyone, is to play full out. And this, I know this is a route to make that happen. So thank you again, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
All right, thanks, Glenn.
Okay.